In a landmark ruling announced by the Vatican on Monday, Pope Francis formally authorized Catholic priests to bless same-sex couples. The radical shift was described as a major step forward by Father James Martin, a Jesuit priest who ministers to the LGBT community.
It's really the first time that there's been any sort of opening to blessing same-sex couples, so it's a big deal.
Monday's announcement marked another significant change made by the Pope in his effort to make the Roman Catholic Church more welcoming. But the new rule made clear that such blessings can only be administered on a case-by-case basis and only as long as they are not part of regular church rituals or liturgies. It also said that it should in no way be confused with the sacrament of heterosexual marriage. Outside St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City, Martin Hardwick and his partner Andrew Gibb welcomed the news.
You know, if Jesus said love was love, then love is love, isn't it? We've been together 41 years. So, and we're married.
It's about time, yeah. Long overdue.
Yeah.
In Pope Francis's hometown of Buenos Aires, some residents saw the ruling as a measure to fight discrimination.
It is a paradigm shift for the Church, and the inclusion of same-sex couples is a change for the Church. As Argentinians, we feel proud that the Pope has taken this initiative, because in our country, there are laws that have been accompanying this process of transformation for several years.
Monday's ruling is bound to be opposed by conservatives, who already criticized the Pope when he hinted that an official change was in the works in October, in response to questions put forward by 5 conservative cardinals.
Espíritu Santo.
Long overdue. You know, if Jesus said love was love, then love is love, isn't it? We've been together 41 years. So, and we're married. So,
it's about time, yeah. Long overdue.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great step forward. I think that's wonderful news, to be honest. I think that's awesome.
I think it's okay because I would want to be blessed by a priest because I am with a woman. And I say go for it.
I think it's wonderful. I mean, I never thought in my lifetime that I could marry my wife of 43 years. I never thought. And to have, she's an ex-nun, so it's got to be very, very meaningful to her on a whole other level than it is for me as a non-Catholic. But as a human being, this is wonderful. This is wonderful.
The Bible just says that it's not, that you shouldn't do that. So yeah, that's it. I'm sorry. I don't want
I think that people should be more focused on going to church and worshiping God and not worrying about what other people are doing and yeah, that's between them and God, and whatever you do is between you and God. So that's the way I look at it.
I think the church should go and do allow same-sex marriages. I think that'd be a big step for the society. I think that'd be awesome if they were able to do that.
I don't believe that the Christian faith should ever have not allowed same-sex marriages. For me, Christianity, which is deep within me, says that what I'm doing is as blessed by God as anybody else.
I think this is a big, big step, and I wouldn't push it right now because I think it's such a big step that I would take a blessing. You know, since I'm already married, I would take a blessing.
It's a major step forward for LGBTQ Catholics, and it's really the first time that there's been any sort of opening to blessing same-sex couples. So it's a big deal. So the Vatican's new declaration permits priests, bishops, and deacons as well to bless same-sex couples, as long as it's not being confused with some sort of sacramental rite or liturgical ceremony. So, you know, in all sorts of public settings. And it is the first time that this has happened. And so yesterday, I couldn't bless same-sex couples in any sort of public setting. And today, with certain limitations, I can. I would say that the document's pretty clear that we are not going to see sacramentally approved marriages, but I think that we have to really be rejoicing for this very positive step forward. I think the Vatican is responding to the needs of the people. They're listening to the needs of the people. Also, we have a new prefect for the Congregation for the Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith, Cardinal Fernandez. And when he took over, Pope Francis said, look, I want you to really reflect on people's experiences. I want to promote what he said is harmonious growth in theology. So really looking at developing theology and developing the church's teaching. So all those things combine. So to understand this, this was put out by the Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith, which is concerned with theology. It's kind of the Vatican's sort of theological watchdog. Usually what they do is they put out what's called a responsum, which is just a response to a question, which is pretty narrow in scope. Someone asked them, can we do this? Yes or no, we can or cannot do this. This was much more thorough and comprehensive, and a declaration is more of a kind of a theological meditation, in this case on blessings. And so it's longer, it's more thorough, and I think as a result, it's more authoritative. I think you're going to see pretty strong reaction in places where priests and bishops want to welcome LGBTQ people. There will be rejoicing. In places where LGBTQ people are not as welcome, there will be, I think, a lot of heartache. But, you know, I'd ask people who feel uncomfortable with it to remember that the church does grow in its understanding of theology, and it's reflecting on human experience. And that's what we're called to do in light of the Holy Spirit. I'd say as a priest, I've been waiting to do this for years. I know so many same-sex couples and loving, committed relationships. Of course, I was unable to do it. I'm happy to be able to do it now.
Nel nome del Padre, del Figlio, e dello Spirito Santo. La pace sia con voi.
Alla Guardia di Finanza proveniente.
I think this is a good step on the road to equality for our community in the church. And I'm particularly struck that this comes just about 2.5 years after the same Vatican office issued a document saying that same-sex couples could not be blessed by the church. So this is actually a very, very rapid change in direction on the part of the Vatican, which I think really comes because so many people responded with how hurt they were and how excluded they felt. Same-sex couples, sacramental equality is what would put us on the same footing as any other Catholics seeking recognition of their relationships. We're not there yet. This is an important step, but it is yet another step on a journey that still has probably miles and miles to go. Our global church, and there are many areas of the world, Eastern Europe, Africa, the Caribbean, pockets of places in the US even, where there is not acceptance of LGBTIQ plus people. And there is still belief that we are somehow not quite as holy or as good as other people. And we need to keep working for all of that to change. What next? I think we have to just keep pushing for the recognition that our identities, whether that be on sexual orientation or gender identity, are gifts from God, and follow through with everything that means. For me, as a leader in this movement, I feel like Pope Francis's statement against the criminalization of LGBTIQ people was really important. However, that hasn't translated through our church, and there are still lots of Catholic bishops, Catholic priests, Catholic politicians who are working to criminalize or are supporting criminalization of LGBTIQ plus people or relationships. And that's really dangerous for our community. So I'd really like to see more happen on that in the days ahead.